Hello everyone and welcome to my channel, to another video. Today we are going to talk about virtualization most of the time, and later on we are going to install the Hyper-V on our Windows Server 2019. First, what is the virtualization? Basically, it's just installing more than one machine, virtual machine, on the single piece of hardware, on the single machine. And that is very useful in corporate environments, enterprise environments, because they can use first it's space saving and cost saving. Of course, you don't have to buy multiple computers, machines. You can use can buy one server, which is strong enough to run quite a few of the virtual machines. To achieve that, we need something that is called hypervisor. We have two types of hypervisor, hypervisor type 1 and hypervisor type 2. What is it? So let's start with the hypervisor type 1. So we have a single machine, hardware, with nothing on it, just a bare metal. Then on that machine we are going to install a hypervisor, and the job of the hypervisor is just to connect to the hardware and, let's say, distribute the resources of the hardware that we have to the virtual machines, because we are going to install the operating systems as a virtual machines on top of the hypervisor. And you're going to, when you're creating the virtual machines, you're going to specify how many CPU cores do you need for that machine, how much of the RAM memory do you need, how much of the hard drive do you need, or the virtual drive. Or you can do the pass-through, which means that you can use the physical, let's say, GPU or the physical hard drives, or you can connect with the physical HBA adapter to the, or fiber channel to storage device, or whatever. There is a lot of options and a lot of possibilities, and this is a quite good way to make your virtualization. It's much better than a type 2, which we are going to talk about later. So the most popular hypervisors, type 1, they are, of course, VMware ESXi, which is I think the most popular. Then Hyper-V, we have, I have to mention that both the ESXi and the Hyper-V, they are free to use, so you can use them with the free license. ESXi, they have some other things which they are going to charge. I'm not really sure if you are buying products like this vSphere or other software, they are going to charge you, but the ESXi itself, it's free of charge. Hyper-V, same. It's coming in the Windows Server, it's coming in the Windows 10 Pro Edition, and you can get it as a standalone. So it's like a core version of Windows Server, but it's only the Hyper-V, which is free of charge. Of course, Windows or Microsoft will charge you for any virtual machine that you run on it. I mean, not for any, but for the Windows, if you run the Windows virtual machines on top of this hardware, of course you're going to have to pay for the licenses for those machines, just same like they are on physical machines. And there is a Proxmox, which is totally free to use. It's open source. I don't like it very much because it doesn't run very well on my servers, on my hardware. I think it's just compatibility issues, but I seen that many people using it and they are very happy with it. Maybe I just don't know how to set it up properly. maybe that might be the problem. And then we have a hypervisor type 2, which we have, again, just a machine on which we are going to install the operating system, say Windows, same, Mac, doesn't matter. And on the operating system we are going to install the hypervisor, which is going to be basically an application, just like any other. We want to install it. The Hyper-V is coming in the Windows already, and you can install any other like VMware or VirtualBox or whatever you like. And what it does basically, it's going through the operating system, connecting to the hardware and distributing, but it's using some things in architecture of the OS. It's sharing together the kernel, and it's not that. It's okay for the home use if you wanna, for the testing purposes. If you wanna, let's say, they just change the OS and then you wanna test another one before you switch totally to it, or you just want to test some application which will run on some previous versions of the OS. That's okay, but it's not really polished like the hypervisor type 1, which will run perfectly. In some cases, if you have a good enough machine and the hardware support is good enough, you will not even notice that you are not running just a regular machine, which is great. In this case, most of the time you are going to notice that it's a virtual machine. So we have a hardware, we have operating system, hypervisor as an application, and from this hypervisor application we can run some virtual machines. Some of the most popular are, of course, again, VMware is number one, which is you have to pay for it, and it's not cheap. And then we have a Hyper-V, which is coming with a Windows 10 Pro Edition for free, of course. Then we have a VirtualBox, which is, I think, Solaris, if I'm not mistaken. It's okay, it's usable. And we have a Parallels, which is paid as well, but for me it has the best performance. And at least on the Mac OS, it works perfectly. So it's almost like a Type 1 hypervisor. It's very good. It's excellent. So now we know basically what is the virtualization and what kind of hypervisors do we have. So let's jump on the installation of Hyper-V on a Windows Server 2019. Cool. Switch to our server. So, just like any other role that we are installing, we are going to manage, add roles and features, next, next, next. Then we choose the Hyper-V, add features, next again, next. Now you come into this screen when it's asking you, do you want to make your virtual switch, which you should do, because you're going to need one if you want your machine to be connected to the network. Or if you're going to make more virtual machines, you want to connect them to some internal or the private network, or external if you want your machine to have access to the internet. So I'm not going to make this because I already have, and you're going to check this box. And then we click next. And this is about a live migration, which you can do it. But this is something what we're going to talk a little bit later on. It's including the failover clustering, and it's not a topic right now. So just leave this, because there is a lot of setup for these kind of things, and you don't want to do it inside of this wizard, you want to do it properly, separately from this. You're just going to leave default paths to the for the virtual machine files and for the virtual hard drives, and then we're gonna check this box restart automatically because it's needed. It's going to restart 1 or 2 times during the installation, and we click on install. And there we go, the machine is restarted now, and it's finishing installation. This will going to be done very soon. After this, we are going to start our Hyper-V Manager console, and we are going to check some of the settings that we have there, and we are going to create one virtual machine. So it's over now, it's done. We're going to Tools, and then we go to the Hyper-V Manager. We have our server here, and then we're going to right click here, and then we're going to check some settings first that we have here. So first, this is just a default path where the files or the VMs are going to be stored. Default path for the virtual drives. NUMA spanning. Spanning of the NUMA nodes, yeah, you would need this most of the time if you're running nested virtualization. It's not so important, we're just going to leave it like this. Settings for the live migrations. What is a live migration? That's when you're moving your virtual machine from one server to another without shutting down the actual machine. So that's very useful for some high availability. So when you're running some kind of server or application which is needed for your whatever in your company, and you don't want it down, and you have to move it, let's say for the maintenance of this server where it is located now, you want to move it to the other server without shutting it down. And the end users will not even notice that there was just this moving migration made. Storage migration, same thing, but if you want to move only the virtual drives from the machine. Enhanced season mode, this might be useful if you want to use the resources of the, let's say, host machine to the guest system which is running, to the virtual machine. If you want to copy some files, if you want your virtual machines to be able to use some resources from the host operating system, you want to turn on this allow enhanced season session mode. For the replication, basically for the failover cluster, if you want to run 2 identical servers and they are going to replicate one to another, so if one fails from any reason, the other one is going to take his place and continue to work because it's like a mirror copy. Then you can use some keyboard settings, mouse, and the rest of the stuff. There we go. Then we have a virtual switch manager. So as we said, we have 3 types of virtual switches. We have external, internal, and private. External is one if you want to be connected to the external network, to the internet or your home LAN or whatever. Internal network is if you're creating more than 1 virtual machines, like 5, 6, and you want to have them inside to be connected to the network, to each other. You're going to create an internal switch, and they're going to be communicate with each other just like normal machines. but they are not going to have a internet connection, except if you make one, which is going to have a external switch and it's going to be like a gateway for the rest of them. You can bridge the connections. Or you're going to make a private. This one is it's making something like a VLAN. It's similar. You can have 10 virtual machines which are connected to the internal network, but you have 2 machines that you want to be able to talk with each other without possibility that the others talk to them through this switch, and you can separate them on the network, so they're going to be like a private network. And then we're going to create a virtual machine by clicking on a right click on a server, or you can use this panel here, same thing. Here you can make only the hard drive if you need. Let's say for one machine you have a need to have 2 virtual drives. So you're going to create one here, and then you're going to create your virtual machine. Here, next, we're going to name it, let's say test. Next, generation 1 or 2. The generation 2 has some improved security, and it can use the UEFI as well as the BIOS if you have a need for something like that. Here you're going to assign the amount of memory that you want to assign for the specific machine. For the Windows Server, if you're going to run that one, you're going to need at least 2 GB by Microsoft, but I recommend always 4 or more. Depends how much you have available. And it's very useful to check this dynamic memory. What this means? It means that you can assign, let's say, 10 gigs to the virtual machine of the RAM memory. But the machine will use only as much as much as the memory. I mean, it will not be, if you have a 20 gigs, let's say, of physical RAM memory on your physical machine. If you assign 10 gigs without checking this box, it's going to take 10 gigs all the time. If you check this box, it will use only as much as it needs at the moment. So if it's idling machine and using only 600 megabytes or 1 gigs, doesn't matter, it's not going to occupy whole 10 gigs that you assigned it already. It's going to occupy only the amount that it needs at that moment. So it's not going to waste any resources. Then here you're going to choose your network adapter that you created previously. Click next. This is a hard drive. By default, it's named same like your virtual machine. This is the path where it's going to be stored, and this is amount of the space on the hard drive, or the size of the hard drive that you're going to assign to this machine. Let's say 10 gigs, and by default it's dynamic. It's the same like with the memory. So it is going to be 10 gigs assigned to this machine, but it's going, as you store data on its drive, it's going to dynamically expand until it's reached 10 gigs, and then it's going to say it's full. But on the physical drive, it will not use the whole 10 gigs all the time. As it's expanding and it's filling this hard drive with the data, it's going to expand more and more until it's reached 10 gigs. But in the beginning, it's going to use only for the installation 4 or 5 gigs. You can add already existing hard drive if you have some, or you can attach it later. It depends on you. Let's click next. And then how you're going to install your OS. Basically, you can do it if you have on your server or your machine, you have a DVD drive or CD drive, doesn't matter. You can install it through the CD, through the physical drive on your machine, or you can just mount the virtual drive or the ISO file and I mean, that's how I do it all the time, and it's much easier. So otherwise, you will have to download the ISO file to burn into the disk and to put it into a machine, but you can just mount the ISO file and install directly. So you're going to choose here your ISO image file. I'm gonna put it there, open it. I don't have any now because I'm not going to install anything. And then you click next and finish. And then there's some kind of problem. I don't know what kind of problem do you have, because this is a virtual machine, maybe doesn't have a no. Let's go like this. So you have created machine, right click, connect, and you're gonna get this window, which is going to be basically your display, just like a remote desktop. You're gonna see here when you click start, it's going to begin with the installation and with your system later on when you install the system. And that will be it for today. In the future, I'm planning to make a video about installing ESXi, which is very nice. So we can play with that as well. At this moment, I'm using only Hyper-V because I'm getting ready for my final exam for MCSE certification, but we will do the ESXi as well because it's very nice. It's very useful. By that, please like, share, and subscribe. It's just 1 second for you, and it means a lot to me. If you would like to support my channel on Patreon, have a link up. It's only $1 a month. You can have some live streaming and some early access to my videos. Thank you. Until the next time. See you. Ciao, ciao.